So what's up? We are here today on this beautiful morning here in Santo Domingo. I'm down here on the Malecon watching and listening to these waves crash up into the side of the rocks and stuff. It sounds good, feels good. The sun is starting to peek out. So if I'm squinching, it's because, you know, if you ever been to Santo Domingo, when that sun come out, man, it's out and it's smiling for a long time and it heats up. But I wanted to talk about a topic, you know, maybe it could be inspirational to some people may be going through it, but I decided that, you know, this is something I wanted to talk about. So back in 2015, I quit my corporate job and we moved to Dominican Republic. And I know you're probably saying, I thought you quit in 2020 and moved to Dominican Republic in 2021. That is true also. But the first time we did it was in 2015. What I did was I took everything in my 401k. We moved to Dominican Republic to open up a hair salon and a restaurant. And the restaurant was taking up so much of our time that we decided to close the hair salon down and focus more on the restaurant. Needless to say, after a year, that restaurant closed down in May, June of 2016. And to be honest with you, I had no clue how to run a restaurant. My wife had no clue how to run a restaurant. We were working ungodly hours. My daughter at the time was a year old. My wife was spending so much time away from her, and I know she didn't like it. I could just tell by the look on her face she didn't like it. And not to mention, we ran out of money. I had maxed out all our credit cards. I was down to nothing. And the last thing you want to be in a foreign country is broke without any money. We didn't even have money to get back to the States. I had to borrow $1,000 from my sister so we can buy plane tickets to get back to the States. And our plan was, when we got back to the States, was to move to Fort Lauderdale, a place that we were looking to move before we moved to Dominican Republic because we were tired of Alabama. And then we had friends who had recently moved there and they said, hey, y'all can come and stay with us until y'all get on y'all feet. So what we flew back to Alabama because we had a car in storage, and we picked up our car, moved to Fort Lauderdale. My first full day in Fort Lauderdale, I went to the temp service, found me a job making $10 an hour loading trucks. Keep in mind, before I left Alabama, I was making $60,000 to $70,000 a year working in HR. But there was no shame in my game. I knew I had to do what I had to do. So the friends we were living with, the landlord caught wind that we were staying at the house. Keep in mind, they already had 2 kids, so it was 4 of them and 3 of us, so it was 7 people living in that house. Needless to say, we had to get out before it was time for us to get out, which the time was when we got on our feet. So from there, we were out on the streets, bouncing hotel to hotel to hotel for maybe a month or so. You're probably asking yourself, well, how were you able to pay for hotels if you didn't have any money? So I had what they call a PayPal credit. So PayPal credit is where you can buy things on credit from your PayPal account. So I had, I don't know, maybe I had about $4,000 in credit. And back then you were able to book on hotels.com using PayPal credit. So that's what I was using to book these hotels, all the way from Pompano Beach, Florida, all the way up to Hollywood, Florida. We were staying in different hotels. I was always looking for the best deal. And you're probably saying, why didn't you get an apartment? And the reason we didn't get an apartment is because we didn't qualify financially. We wasn't on a job long enough. We didn't have any, the bank statements didn't show anything. And we just didn't qualify financially. And trust me, we tried to make up stuff, man. We made, we wrote reference letters and things because we were trying to find somewhere to stay. Luckily, this newer luxury apartment, well, it was recently new. It had probably been around a few years, had a special running, and they wasn't looking at all those qualifications. Only thing they was asking for was a $75 deposit. First month was free. The second month was half off. And they wanted the $2,000 deposit, the $2,200 deposit, which that was the rent. was $2,200. And I also knew by the second month we'll have the $1,100, and by the third month that we should have the $2,000. I didn't know for sure, but I was thinking that we would. Going back just a little bit, even if we found an apartment at $2,200, we wouldn't have had $4,400 to pay anyway. So not only did we not qualify, we didn't have the money, but this particular deal was kind of reasonable for us. And I was able to get $2,000 from my mom. She loaned us $2,000. I was able to put we were able to put the other $275 for the application and the part of the rent. Needless to say, we got the apartment. However, we didn't have any furniture. So from August to around the end of November, we had no furniture. We ate, we slept, we watched movies on my laptop, all on the hard floor. At least the floor had carpet, but that's what we did. And I was kind of embarrassed too, because with these luxury apartments, which I had never stayed in before then, they come around and periodically and do these fire alarm checks and these fire extinguisher testings and all that stuff. So they would walk in the apartment and it would be no furniture in there. And they always let us know that when they're gonna be there, and when they let us know we're gonna be there, we'll fold everything up, put everything in the closet as if nobody lives there, and we'll make sure that we're gone the whole day, even if we didn't have work to do. And so they would come in and do these tests, and then I remember one time the maintenance guy went to the front desk and said, "Hey, is this apartment occupied? Because there's no furniture in it. And every time we come in there's no furniture, you know?" And so she would call me and say, "Are you living in an apartment?" I said, "Yeah, but remember, you know, we're moving from Alabama, so we're still working in Alabama, and we're slowly but surely getting our things and moving down there. But we thought that was a good deal that you guys were giving, and we didn't want to miss that deal." So that was the excuse I used. So during this time, the Berries had found her a full-time job working as a recruiter for a temporary service. And she was also working part-time at Dunkin' Donuts, which was across the street from the apartment complex that we was living in. And she was also doing event work on the weekends for another temporary company. I was loading trucks for about 2 weeks. And then I started working full-time doing Uber until I could find something that was more in line to what my field was. And I finally found a clerical job pushing paper at the city of Dania Beach. And it was for 2 weeks, but I knew it was temporary. While I was working at that 2 weeks, I knew that temporary service was working to find me other work because I had skills. It wasn't like I didn't have skills, I had skills. And they found me a job, I think it was around October, where I got hired at the fire department in Davie, Florida. And I was working as a clerical assistant or something like that. I think that was the title. And although it was temporary, it was temp to hire. And I was making $13 an hour. If I got hired on full time, I'd be making like 14 or 15. While I was working there, I ended up getting a job cleaning a school that was right down the street. So after I would get off work at 5 o'clock, I would go to this school. It was an elementary school. Oh no, it was a Montessori school. How you say that? Montessori or something like that? School. And I would clean that from like 5:15 to like 7:30, however long it took me. But it mostly took me like hour 45 to 2 hours to actually clean it. And so I did that for a while, and then finally, the person that hired me at the school knew somebody else that was looking for someone to clean a rental car place. And they wanted you to come in around 7:30 because the place closed at 6 o'clock. And so I was like, okay, I'll do that. So I went from working in Davie from 8:30 to 5. I go to clean the schools, and then I go to the rental car place at about 7:30, and I worked around 9:30. I get home sometimes by 9:30 or 10 o'clock, it all depends. And I did this for almost a year. And the rental car company that I was working for was called Six, S-I-X-T-H. I don't know if you guys ever seen Six Rental Car. That's what I was working at. And I was working in the corporate office, not the place where you can go and rent the cars. I was working in the corporate office. And so I did this for almost a year. Around December, my wife's mother was planning to come to Fort Lauderdale to visit us. And keep in mind, we had no furniture. So we had to figure out how to get us some furniture. So we went to Rooms to Go and to see if we can finance some furniture. So when we get the Rooms to Go, put in our application, man, you already know they denied our application. Credit shot. You know, our credit was horrible. They wouldn't give it to us. So in Rooms to Go, they had this secondary financial company who will finance, you know, bankruptcies, bad credit, no credit, but they do it at a higher rate, and it was called Acceptance Now. So we went over there, of course, they approved us, and we got some furniture. And it was the basics: couch, bed, table, that was it. So in November 2016, while working at the fire department, I got a call because I was still trying to better myself. $13, $14, $15 an hour was just not gonna cut it, especially in South Florida, even in 2016. So I got a call to be a recruiting manager at this security company that was in Aventura, Florida. And it was paying me $17,000, $18 an hour. I think I was making like $35,000 a year. And let me tell you, I hated that job. I worked there for like 4 to 5 months, and I couldn't stand it because it was so disorganized. So around the middle of 2017, I ended up getting another job down in Miami, working as a recruiter at this temporary service. It wasn't a temporary job, it was actually a full-time job, but I was working directly with the temp service. And I was getting paid $50K. So that was a no-brainer. I left the security job, which I hated, and I went down to start working at that temporary company from 2017 and until I quit in October 2020, once I started on my online work trajectory. So by the middle of 2018, we started to get our footing, meaning we started to be able to breathe just a little bit financially, even though we were still working 2 jobs. I was working my full-time job, she was working her full-time job, but after work, we would do some Instacart, and also on the weekends we'd do Instacart. And I know sometimes when I was at work down in Miami, on my lunch break, if I wasn't doing anything to build our business or educate myself on online work, I turn the app on and I go get some money within that hour. Because that's all I was focused on. I was like, man, we gotta get some money. And keep in mind, during this whole time between 2016 and 2018, we were trying all types of things to make money online. Drop shipping, affiliate marketing. I was even learning how to trade options, things of that nature. Although none of it made any real money, what I didn't know is that I was gaining some experience and understanding of how to make money online, how these platforms work. I was seeing where the economy or some parts of the economy was heading toward online work and online services. So in July of 2018, I ended up coming to Dominican Republic, and because Russell Taylor was having a Memorial Day event, and that's how I met Taylor Made Dreams, Russell Taylor. Shout out to Russell, that's my guy. He was telling me how much money he was making doing YouTube. And I said, really, you was making, I think he had told me like $2,500. And I was like, you just make $2,500 doing videos? He was like, yeah. And I was thinking to myself, that was always a number I had in my mind as to what we would need to actually move here. So when I got back from that Memorial Day weekend event, I told Nabaris, hey, we're gonna start a YouTube channel. No, you're gonna start a YouTube channel. So in August in 2018, we end up starting a YouTube channel. And 2 months after that, I end up starting my cooking channel, my YouTube cooking channel in October of 2018. And guys, the rest is history. And I told this story because we were at our lowest point as a family. And we could have stayed down, even though that option never ever crossed my mind about staying down. Instead, we fought to figure it out. And I know there are many people who are currently in this position. There are many people who have just maybe left this type of position. And there are many people that are heading toward this position. You know, like they say, you either heading to a problem, in a problem, or just left a problem. And that's just how life works. The key is that you don't stay down when you're down and you try to figure it out. And I had no clue that everything that we were doing was gonna lead us to the life that we have today. All I knew is that I did not want to be where I was. And when I say didn't want to be where I was, it didn't mean that I didn't want to be in the United States. What it means is that I didn't want to be in that position financially. It was not comfortable at all. And here's what you need to understand about what I was doing during this time. I was just working. I wasn't worrying about the results. I was just working because I understand the when is not up to us. When something is going to happen, it's not up to us. The results and how it shapes out is not up to us. We can put in the work and we can envision it, but it's not up to us. It's ultimately up to the universe as the when. Now, what we do have control over, we have control over the why, meaning why do you want to do something? We can control why we want to do it. We also have control over the what, meaning what do you want to do to align with the why? And the other thing we have control over is the how, meaning how are you going to do it to align with the what and the why? But the when is going to happen, it's not up to us. It's up to the universe. So where a lot of people get it wrong is they work, but they're so focused on the results and when something is going to happen that they can't even focus on what they're doing, why they're doing it, and how they're doing it. And that's the key. Stop worrying about the when. Worry about the why, what, and the how. The when is going to come when it comes. Because I believe the universe works in our favor. And if you're on the right frequency, the universe is always going to work in your favor. You just never know when. But if you're on the wrong frequency, the universe is always going to work against you. And it's going to work against you sooner rather than later. Because good things come for those who wait. I know that's a corny saying or it's cliche, but it's true. Like Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're always right. So guys, keep fighting, stay working, and it's all gonna come together. So until the end, remember, always keep your goals at the forefront of your mind. Always live in the present, because that's the only way you're gonna live your best life. And I'm out.
Je ben God my best life, yeah. Je ben God my best life, yeah. Something you and me, oh. Je ben God my best life, yeah. Jumping, flexing, I just want to